Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of 406 Budcast. We sincerely appreciate your patience while we had a little holiday hiatus, but we are back in full force. We have a special guest this evening, the Grow Fam. We will introduce them with a little bit of a longer video that they prepared for us ahead of time. We appreciate you guys. But in the meantime, I'm just going to reintroduce everyone since it's been a while. We've got Adam. Here we have across the desk Nate, and we have Tanaki. Normally we have Hannah, my wife, here as well behind the desk, but she is with the kids this evening. So today we just have the lovely Michelle. Thank you so much. And welcome back. Happy holidays. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I know I did.
Absolutely, guys.
Happy
Make sure to hit that
2025.
like, follow, and share, guys. And invite your friends. Tag them in the chat. We'll be back just after this with an amazing show.
On vibes under the big sky. 4-6 podcast gonna get you high. Adam and Tanaki and Nate bringing the heat. No time to wait. From the mountains to the plains, let's fucking up, break your chains. Every topic, every strain in this cannabis domain. 4-6 podcast, let's celebrate. Rolling up, it's time to celebrate. Adam and Tanaki and Nate and Montana, we dominate. The soul of the villas, we're on the map. Lighting up the scene, ain't no cap. Hip-hop beats in the background as we drop knowledge profound. From CBD to THC, we're breaking down the chemistry in this podcast symphony. Come join our THC family.
Alrighty, so we are back. And tonight we are here with Ash and Dreadful from Grow Fam, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Excuse me.
Well, thanks for having us, guys. I really want to start by saying that. But hey, everyone, my name is Ash.
And I'm Dreadful.
So I'm from Connecticut. I've lived in Colorado for the past 11 years. I moved in 2013 because of cannabis legalization. It was approved, so I basically packed up and moved within a month. I started as a caregiver out in Colorado growing cannabis, and I've grown commercial as well during that time for about 8 years, and then I was a consultant for the past 4 years, and that's what we do now. So we do consulting for a line of dispensaries out here, and we do some hemp consulting for soil, and we're doing some groundwork there, and we just educate our community on growing organically, sustainably, and we're going to start a homestead up here in Denver. We bought just shy of 3 acres north of Denver, about 15 minutes from the airport. And we're going to have a sustainable bed and breakfast experience for people to come and visit from the community that we're part of and from all over. So we want to have classes for canning and jarring and even for growing cannabis and the whole process of the merriment of the two. We want to make cannabis more approachable, more
normalized.
Yeah.
Because it's part of life. It's a normal thing. Let's make it a normal thing. Let's grow it next to all of our other vegetables,
That's exactly what I was about to say. You guys go so much further beyond than just growing the cannabis, right? You also, you guys grow vegetables, and you have this big garden and all of these wonderful things.
That's something that we're just definitely starting, and we're kind of recording the process of the homesteading and our adventures of learning how to do all this for ourselves and live healthier. We just had our son 2 years ago, and that's been a huge push to basically change what we've been doing and do more for ourselves and just by ourselves, I guess. And if we can teach people along the way, then that's great. And cannabis has always been very huge for us, and it's always been a part of our life. So we just want to incorporate that in everything else that we're doing.
Yeah, we're really picking up on some of the more new age organic methods, like permaculture is a hot topic nowadays. And so we're doing like a food forest. We're doing hugelculture beds, like really on a big scale.
A bunch of holes in the backyard.
And it's cool. It is a process that we're learning at the same time, because my strong suit is soil and plant health and soil health. One of my big projects right now that we're working on is mitigating fusarium in soils out here, because it's native in Colorado. I don't know about Montana. I'm sure you guys have it there as well, but big problem out here, and it's wiping out entire crops of hemp and different herbaceous vegetables as a whole. So,
and unfortunately, people don't care enough. They'll just kind of pick up their crop and move over, and then just start again and pick up and move over, instead of facing the problem like head on.
So what do you guys are finding as a mitigating factor for getting rid of some of those issues? What works well?
Well, compost is the number one name of the game. Compost is the biggest thing. Changing the pH is another thing. Okay. So fusarium really thrives in a pH of between 6 and 7. So we like to drop the pH. It's a lot easier for us to drop it out here. It does run a little bit high, but we like to put sulfur down, as well as our organic compost. Green manure is really big. We, in the early parts of the spring and the summer, will take giant tarps, plastic tarps, and cover the ground, because fusarium and heat do not go well together. So, and the big goal there is to immobilize the fusarium. Fusarium is going to be in your soil for like up to a decade. When it blows around in the wind, and it affects the ground everywhere. So it's a big problem. Now, if we can mitigate that through dropping a lot of compost, green manures, cover cropping is a big thing by using fusarium resistant crops like brassica grasses. It's all very, it's old age stuff, but it's new age stuff. The idea is to speed the process up by doing as many methods as possible. So right now, first and foremost, we are growing brassica grasses on the ground after heating it for 2 months straight. So all of May, all of June, the ground is completely covered with a plastic tarp. After that, we remove the plastic tarp, and then we'll add our green manure and our compost. A lot of biochar is purchased as well. There's a really big budget for these things, because hemp is a really big cash crop still, even to this day, with all the things that are acceptable through the 2018 hemp law. So after we do our drop, we'll rotate crops, and that's like our big thing. And our goal is to take it down from 10 years to down to 3 years. And right now we're seeing a mobilization in 3 of the 12 pastures, and we're going to do one by one until it's all done. And we're working with a very big hemp company in Colorado. I don't like to name drop, because I've had people that do want to dig into what I'm doing and just ruin stuff. But it is
we don't talk about work much, but
no, we don't. So, but it's great. It provides a pretty good income. Like a lot of people out there, we have to rely on more than one source of income to get by, so we do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And but our bread and butter is really the consulting, and then we're trying to implement that into with our community by the education there too, and provide some value for everybody that comes into our lives, really.
Well, that's really awesome, guys. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we're all very excited to have you guys on today. And I had a follow-up question. You spoke not just now kind of what you guys do in the cannabis industry and beyond, but how did you guys get into cannabis? Like, I'm talking, what made you love the herb?
Well, that's how we met. Like, the herb had us falling together, and that's how we met each other, was through the herb.
I Yeah, and I just see some beautiful faces coming in. I just want to say what up, guys. I love y'all.
Yep.
Thanks
Hey,
for stopping
everyone.
by.
Absolutely. How's it going?
We got
I've
Master Roshi, Crystal, Kayla, Hannah,
Adam A.
Shane.
Dryman. Like what?
Oh, that highlight and
Yeah.
let everybody know what was going on as well. I see Kimberly as well. Much
Kayla
love to
as well.
everybody.
One of our
tag your
regulars.
friends, tag
Shane.
people. Yes. So I've grown up in a very conservative Indian family, and while it's still part of our culture to consume cannabis, in India, but none of my family thought it was cool. I actually didn't smoke weed until senior year of high school, and from the first time that I ever tried it, I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it, and I wanted everything to do with it. And I've always been that type of person that, like, if I really like something, I like go all into it to the point where, I wanted to just do everything. So I started selling it first, and then I started taking all the bag seed and trying to grow it. I started the seeds under my bed, and my dad found them, and it was an uphill battle. And I was living in Connecticut. I was selling quite a bit of pot back in the day. And I was really sick of it. I was like really tired of just living the way I was living. And after a few bad things that happened to me back east with money and with being almost robbed a few times. I have been robbed, but I was like, I'm done with this. So like I saw Colorado was getting legal, and I told the girlfriend that I was with at the time, we were out to dinner, and I was like, you know what? I'm moving to Colorado. You're like, okay, when? So at the end of the month, I'm going to be out of here.
It's a hell of a drop right there, bro.
Yeah, that was a mic drop. But, I left. I found an apartment in Lakewood, Colorado. And I met a guy named Joe at a bar. I was a real bar body at the time. Just loved alcohol. I met this guy at a bar, and he was a caregiver, and he had a co-op that he was running and that he was into, and he asked me if I wanted to check it out, and I said yeah. And he was running into a little bit of issues with like finances and stuff like that, and I was like, hey, well, I need something too, bud. So like, why don't I rent out half of what you're doing, and like I'll buy some equipment and we can just share it. And he was cool with that. And I met Chelsea there. She was helping out and trimming, and
It was fun. There was a lot of hippies there.
yeah, it was like our own little commune at the time. Like we were living in tents. Like when I first moved to Colorado, the first summer I moved here, we were just staying out at the farm in tents and just happy as could be.
Just growing weed.
And it wasn't off grid or anything, but it was out in the country. And in Colorado, we had extended plant counts back in the day.
There was a lot of gray areas, and plant counts were ridiculous. Like ridiculous.
So we became caregivers, and we started a co-op. So we each had 99 plants, and we stacked them on top of each other. And at one point, we had about 6,500 plants growing as a med co-op. It was all really, really, really good quality stuff. I was running 9 greenhouses on the property, and it was great. And I actually stayed there longer than Joe did. He was like, I'm done with this place. And he ended up leaving. Chelsea ended up leaving. And I was staying there. And I actually was kind of by myself for a while because I was really, really deep into my drinking at the time. And, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but, I later found her still drinking
At the same bar.
at the same bar.
We went back to the bar, and I ran into him again. And he's like, hey, I could really use someone to help trim. Like, you help.
Suckered her in at the trim job.
Gets them every time.
Yeah.
Right?
I know how to win them.
I think we all have been there.
Yeah. So it was, the rest was history. I was just like, that's, I was single at the time, and I just, when I saw her for the second time, the way she treated my dog, I was like,
it was the dog.
That's it. This is the one. This is the girl right here. She could treat my plants right. She could treat my dog right. I know she could treat me right.
Yes, sir. What more could you ask for?
Yeah. So that's really, I came out here just to avoid the shit that was happening back east with cannabis, and it's still being treated like a drug, and I just didn't want to feel like an outlaw forever. I didn't want that feeling anymore. So I was done with it. Came where I was a little more liberated. Failed multiple times. We failed so many times, guys.
But we failed together and we got back up. We've been through some really, really rough times. Like he said about the alcohol, we're not going to go too deep into it, but we've been sober for 5 years now.
Oh, this is our 5th year.
Yeah. And so it was definitely a hurdle getting over that. And the plant always helped. Growing the plant always helps, even like mentally. Like you don't even have to smoke it. You just grow it. It'll change your life.
Absolutely. And it looks like Matthew out there said he has 15 years sober for him as well. So yeah, congratulations.
Congrats, brother.
Yeah, our whole life really changed. Our relationship definitely changed after that.
That's great. I know my dad went through an AA program for a while, and he actually ran one for a bit. He's been 22 or 23 years sober now, something like that. And
Dang.
He talked about the old timers, as he would call them in the groups. They would talk about the marijuana maintenance program, is what they called it. It was something that really helped a lot of people that were drinking find their way away from alcohol. And while some of the old time, what do they call them, sponsors, they would warn against a marijuana maintenance program, there were a lot of them that really recommended it if it was something that helped you.
Yeah, and I think that the studies that have come out recently sort of suggest that marijuana may help transition away from other drugs and alcohol, and so that's taken away from that whole gateway drug effect that everybody talks about. And I'm happy to see a lot of people starting to be able to back that up with their own stories, from all around the country. And I mean, we really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your story with us, and with everybody out there who's watching as well. I mean, it takes a lot to step up and, lay that on the line. So we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it makes us who we are. And if people call it green sober or Cali sober, and the way I think about it is like anything that keep me off the bottle is good in my opinion. So
you may be green sober, but you will not be refrigerator sober. I promise you that.
What up, Krampus? Yes, this is live, brother.
Hey, yeah, we got a live show, but I guess speaking of live, we actually do have a little bit of a video that you guys sent us. We would like to show everyone to kind of show around what you guys are doing. You mentioned the homestead and all of that, and you definitely cover that in this clip that we will be watching. So we will launch right into that in just a moment.
Guys, this is Ash.
And my name is Dreadful, and we are 10-year growers and consultants out here in Denver, Colorado, and we'd like to welcome you to our homestead.
We got the homestead in 2023 to have a more healthy and sustainable lifestyle for ourselves and educate our community in doing the same. So we're excited to give you guys a tour. We plan on opening at the end of this year for you guys to come on and visit. So it'll be an epicenter for community growers as a whole. We're really excited.
Woohoo, let's go check it out.
So let's start with the front of the property because it is probably the least exciting part so far. Pretty bare, but it's got a lot of cool potential. We plan to put a 12 by 25 farmers market stand right here. And in there we'll have our produce and all the eggs on the homestead. Right up in front, we'll be doing our advertising on Facebook Marketplace. We'll be, selling to some local chefs, microgreens. All the produce that you see here at the homestead will be for sale up in front right here. This is going to be an area for parking. So as soon as you come in, you'll be able to park right up in there. and it'll be a little gravel area. It'll be safe for everybody to park. The campers are going to go right here. As you can see, we're living in one right now. It's a nice little camper. We're getting some insulation boards down at the bottom. And after you get past the market stand, you'll be able to tour the food forest, which we've been working on. It's off season, so it isn't that pretty right now. But let me tell you, when all these plants come back to life, it is going to be gorgeous. A lot of learning is going to take place here. So you guys are going to learn about companion planting, permaculture, understories, overstories. This was our last project that we just completed here. This is the gazebo. We're going to be able to get a nice view of everything from here.
The rut comes in a couple days.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't even be walking on it. I've been taking my shoes off just for coming in here. And as you're walking through the pathway here to get to the back half of the field, we've got golden currants lining out the pathway here on this side, and then sand cherries on this side. Soon, a fireplace for great conversations and good vibes, good times, memories for sure. This is the greenhouse that we put up just before Thanksgiving. So this is the inside of the greenhouse. Stays temperate as heck, even in the winter. I love it. The purpose of having this little dugout area here in the middle is so that we could build a little greenhouse on the outside to have a little, double greenhouse going on there, double insulated greenhouse. So it'll keep it nice and warm during the winter season. We're going to start our plants down in there. We're going to build the same kind of hoops that you see on the outside right here within this greenhouse, and we're going to start all of our plants in there. We'll put a light in there. We're going to use a black film instead of a clear one, because this is going to look like a lighthouse if we don't. So we'll start our plants in there, and then it'll be easier to heat too. And then during the summertime, it'll be a cooler area for our younger plants to start out in. So if we're starting plants all year round and keeping them growing, it's going to be a nice little spot to have this area dug out for the geothermal, geo-cooling effect of it. So it helps, trust me. I'm going to be saving on my electricity bill and my gas bill for sure. Super excited about it. We'll also be doing the same over here. Just going to put up another greenhouse. We'd like to get this one rocking first before we know if we're going to really need this space as a greenhouse. It may or may not be necessary. So it's going to go right here if and when we do. And I know we're gonna, because I'm crazy and I love plants. So whether we need it or not, it's happening. That's the shed. That's a little nursery that we're going to start our plants in. In the off season when it's really, really cold, and where we're going to do our microgreens. So microgreens, young plants, young nursery is right over there. And this is our chicken coop. It is big. It's got two sections. It's got this section and it's got this section. And we divvy off the sections so that we can plant in one section and then they graze on the other section. So chickens are gonna peck and poop and till and dig up things, scratch, and they need an area where they can get bugs and different grasses, and they like to stay cool. There's so many purposes in having, rotational pastures for not just your goats, not just your cattle, but also for your chickens. So we'll plant a cover crop over here while they're over there. And then once this is all grown out, that'll all be dug up. They'll come over here. We'll plant on that side and then just keep repeating that process. So right now it's the winter. They've kind of gotten to everything already, but the ground is soft. Let me tell you, this ground is way softer than any other parts of our property. And that's because there were plants here. And was that right? Coming?
I'm coming. Did you show off the mulberry?
I didn't.
The chickens mulberry. We've got some pawpaws over here. Hopefully they'll come back. If not, we will plant more. We gave the chickens a mulberry because who doesn't love mulberries? And then we've got some raspberries, and we'd like to continue with the berries along the fence, like pretty much all the way around, so the birds can have some nice berries.
Yeah, I'll steal some too.
Of course, we'd like an abundance.
They're paying the taxes. So imagine, with imaginations, another hoop house right there. This whole area is going to be filled in with berries, berry bushes. And they're filled with all sorts of different plants. They have wood at the bottom, alpaca manure. I'm going to backfill them in with these mounds right here after amending them heavily. We're going to throw about a bag of BioLife into each one of these, a 50-pound bag of BioLife into each one of these containers, along with the dirt that was in here before. And we're going to make mounds. So they have a layer of wood at the bottom, alpaca manure on top of that, herbaceous veggies and stuff from our garden, stuff from the weeds. A lot of it is weeded. Don't worry about that later, guys, because we're going to be covering and suffocating the weeds out and then cooking the soil down. We're going to be covering it and inoculating it with some mushroom culture, and it's going to help break down the wood that's underneath. As you can see, the alpaca manure over here. I know it's kind of a mess right now, but once we fill it, they're just going to be little tiny mounds, little hills that you'll see right here as everything's breaking down. We'll inoculate it, we'll cover it with a tarp, and we'll make sure the moisture stays consistent and that the heat is trapped in here too, because it's going to get a little warm, a little hot as it's cooking, breaking down. And hopefully with the fungi culture, it'll break down even faster. And back here is where we're going to plan to put our house. So our house is going to be over here. Normally you can see the mountains from here, but it's super cloudy, super hazy. We normally have a pretty good view of everything, but fortunately not right now. And that's okay. But this is where the house is going to be in Adams County, our county. We need to have a house before we can have short-term rentals, people staying in on the properties. Well, thank you, 406 Budcast, for joining us on our homestead tour. We hope to see you guys here in the future.
And I know it's not much, but remember, this is just year one. We're so excited. There's more to come. There's more plans. It's a homestead. There's always something to do. So tune in if you like us. Subscribe, like, follow, share, all those fun things. And tune in.
Yes, and if you're ever in the Denver area, be sure to stop by and check out your favorite Grow Fam homestead. Much love, and always keep keep it organic.
Love to see ya.
Rise up, feel the power. Every minute, every scene, every hour. Homestead living, making moments sweeter. We the leaders of this green love fever.
All right, there we go. So we are back. Sorry, we had the mute on.
We got blooper 55,500.
Right. I'm telling you what, a cannabis podcast, you'll have those every once in a while.
We
But
were-
just over at the Grove Fam Homestead, man, and what a vision you guys have. I see it like as everything's getting laid out and the way you're talking about it and the effort you guys are putting in. I mean, it looks fucking amazing out there, dude. Like I'm excited to see it come to fruition and everything out there. It's going to be lit. You're going to have the houses, like you said, you're going to have like a B&B, like a little cannabis B&B. That's going to be kind of dope. And then they can go through
Can't do it through Airbnb.
You can't do a weed B&B?
No, can't do it through Airbnb.
Oh, yeah. No.
Well,
That sucks.
we're just gonna have to start Canna B&B.
Yeah.
Canna B&B. Canna B&B.
Yes.
The
Coming to
name
you
writes
soon.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for including that. I'm so sorry it was long. Like I had to edit it down. It would have been like a half hour if I didn't. Yeah, I don't shut the fuck up. Sorry.
We appreciate it. You guys had a ton to go over there. I mean, really, I think that what you guys are shooting for is essentially just the Montanan dream. How many people do we know in Montana that live out on a homestead? They've got their little. We've seen how much interaction in the chat of people that were like, "Oh my gosh, I love my chickens." So you've got kindred hearts out here for sure.
Yeah, and that's such a great idea with the movable pen. So it's like tilling up the soil, keeping it nice and loose. It's cleaning up everything from before. They're getting some nice interaction out of it, and it's just renewable each time. You just slide it down, like you said, then grow the crop and slide it back, grow the crop, and yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they seem to enjoy it.
Sorry, go ahead. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing some of those and opening yourselves up, because what you're doing is setting out a model that can be, done elsewhere. And I know through your consulting business, that's going to be a big deal, that you'll be able to come to other areas. And hopefully you'll be able to break out here into Montana and show some people how to take care of, take advantage of some of that good you guys are doing out there in Colorado.
Yeah, I love Montana. Now, I have never actually hung out there before, but I've been like one time in a drive, and I thought it was so stunningly beautiful. Like you guys live in probably one of the most beautiful states. I know it's super cold up there, but you got a way better view of the Rockies than we do. And when you said everybody has that homestead living, her cousin lives out there and they raise cattle, and I mean, it's nice. It's so beautiful out there.
Yep. We love it out here. So
Grow weed and grow chickens and cattle.
yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
he summed it up: beautiful and cold. Beautifully cold. For sure. Those are the two things top for sure when you think Montana. And I mean, I can't deny it. Being from the East Coast myself and traveling around and things. I mean, I stayed out in Colorado for a little bit. I was out in Grand Junction on the western slope. That was pretty dope. And then we cruised up to Oregon. I'm not gonna lie, that fucking sucked. And I mean, we were in Central Oregon, and to each their own, but I did not enjoy my time in Central Oregon. It was wildfire season, and there was tons of different reasons why that sucked. And then we went down to Florida, and Florida was beautiful but hot, as unbelievably
Swim through the air hot.
Yeah, and then somebody opens an oven door in front of you, and it's just like, what?
You get out of the shower, towel off, and you're like, that was pointless.
Right. Oh no, just keep the towel on the shoulders for sure.
Yeah.
And then coming up here, and I mean, the cold's kind of tolerable in a way. It's the dry cold, but you get all of the beauty, and you just got to remind yourself, like, hey, it's a different cold, and it doesn't quite go through to the bones. But when you feel your fingers start to stop moving so well, you need to go ahead and get inside.
Yeah, it's a sneaky cold up here. That's for dang sure.
What is it like right now? Like right now?
Oh man, you couldn't have asked that better time.
I think right now we're probably right around 30 degrees, 20 degrees. Roughly.
No, 10.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty cold today.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's all good. We're good.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're at a low 10 degrees, snowing, and got a pretty decent breeze going on. So I bet you, with wind factor and everything, we're probably feeling about 0.
Yeah, but I mean, I will comment first myself that this is a remarkably mild winter for us. We've had several years out of the last 5 that have hit negative 30 plus wind chill. So,
Oh shoot, we were looking at negative 40 on without the wind chill last winter. I was standing on the back porch. We threw the water in the air and it turned to mist. It turned to just like snow.
vapor.
Yeah,
Yeah, it turned to
vaporized.
snow.
Goodness.
What's the weather like there right now?
Today was like really nice. It was like in the mid low 50s today.
Yeah, it's time to go to Colorado.
Sounds like I'm jealous as fuck, dude.
It drops at night though. It gets really cold at night. Like it's decent and it's warm, and with all the sun we get, like it's not that bad. And people think it snows all the time and the snow sticks. There's no snow. It lasts maybe a day, if that. As soon as the sun comes out, the snow's gone.
Wow.
And anytime, guys, you guys want to come out for a visit? We definitely love it.
That sounds like a road trip. Maybe we
Mhm.
can bring some cameras out there and meet in person for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
And
that
it's-
far, right? How far is Billings from?
I think Billings. So I have a sister who lives down in Colorado Springs. I think we're right around 12 hours from Billings to Colorado Springs one way. So I think Denver, you're maybe 10-ish at best.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah, no, not at all. And
Adam's
same
side.
here. We have 80 acres, and we'd love to get your opinion on some sustainability issues and how we could turn that into something that's similar to what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
down
come
there.
check out Dirt.
Yeah, one of the funnest things
Would
that we're
love to.
working on this year would be the food forest. Like it's become a whole new, like plants are great, cannabis is great, but applying this to other plants and like growing all these trees and like I said, berries, I couldn't say it enough. I'm so excited for all of these different kinds that grow just like here because they need that cold. And all the levels of plants, the understories, and just how the ecosystem needs to work together. And I've just learned and found so many new perennials and ways to use them that you wouldn't even think that you can eat this thing, but you can, and it is edible, and you can turn it into stews and salads and soups. And it's been really, really fun with the food forest, learning about all these different plants that we can also incorporate in our living and our cooking too now.
And
Yeah,
it's I was just going to quickly comment that it is remarkably beautiful too. Especially those pictures of it during the summertime, and of course, we can imagine what maybe a little bit more fuller fruit trees and some of your bushes, or like what you guys see in the future. I think some of us see, and we're excited to come on the journey with you for sure.
Right. I can't wait till year 5 because this is just year 1. Like we just planted all these plants, so I can't wait till they actually like grow root and they take and they just go. Like, and we're doing this for all our little man, and when he gets older, it'll be a beautiful little forest that will have some shade because right now there's no shade.
That's one of the luckiest little kids ever to grow up in a beautiful food forest like that. Are you kidding? Oh my goodness.
He goes and picks fruit in the morning, and every day he's looking for berries.
Now it's just the eggs because there's no berries, but
Right.
And you guys, you live in an area where it's not the worst for fruit trees. You guys are probably gonna have quite a bit of success because it's gonna have enough frost days, which is important for dormancy. So I'm sure that there's a lot that you guys could do to make you a food forest, to implement at least principles of permaculture in there, and to do something similar out where you guys are at. And I'd love to send you a list or something of things that grow well there. It's things that like don't really sound that popular in the supermarket that you'd be able to grow in a condition like yours, or in like the dead ass winter in Canada. They do fine in there.
Anything tall that is bushy that will block wind.
Yes, we need those. Hey, I know lots of
really out there.
Montana, so
Yeah.
it's a common. We do fruit. Oh, cherry trees, of course.
More over northwest Montana,
Yeah.
that area. There's a lot of orchards and stuff.
Mm.
They hog all the water over there. We're in eastern Montana. We're a little drier. where we're at is a bit of a highland desert. We have prickly pear,
So,
cactus,
same.
agave yuccas, and stuff like that. So very, very similar to what you have right there near Denver.
Yeah, we're not in Palisades, so we're pretty much the desert, and people think of Colorado as the beauty, Rockies, and awesome skiing, and it's like, no, it's pretty much a desert. We get a
You
nice
missed-
view, but it's a desert.
So you guys are on the east side of the Rockies too, right?
Yeah, we're more southeastern Montana. We do have some mountains near us, Red Lodge, that area. We, in the Crazies. But as far as Billings, that area, we're more the River Plateau and sort of the flatlands.
Nice.
But yeah,
and what's
you're-
cannabis culture like out there?
The cannabis culture is awesome here in Montana. We've actually had a market for about 20 years. Just celebrated 20 years of cannabis in Montana. 3 years recreational, the rest of it was medical. But there was a pretty big push from the state to try to keep us separated, try to keep us competing against each other. But we really coalesced around the business when they tried to challenge and shut us down. A lot of people came together and really culminated a good industry push to push back against that. Now with recreational open, there's a lot of great collaborations going on, a lot of businesses working together, a lot of wholesale opportunities, stuff like that. But not only the business aspect, there's a lot of festivals going on. There's a lot of people that are doing events for cooking shows. Cannabis foods, different like chili cook-offs that have cannabis infusions and stuff like that. So we're really seeing, the community itself come together real well in Montana.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, HempFest is as far as festivals go, like it's out in Lolo, and you have no cell phone reception out there. You can only
That's
get
intentional.
connection if you go across the bridge on the river over to this little hotel and bar, and you can connect to Wi-Fi there if you need to. But inside festival ground, you get no service on your cell phone, and you just set out there for 3 days in what is absolutely paradise. And
Hot springs.
there's hot springs, but I mean, you enjoy
Tents.
the music,
Oh.
you enjoy the festival, you enjoy the camaraderie. They'll have cannabis judging contests. They'll have tents from all the different companies set up with samples and edibles, and you just walk up and down and have an amazing time and really just connect with everyone in the community and nature, dude.
And speaking of HempFest, the early bird tickets are going on sale. So over there to the HempFest website, check them out there. Shelly and Nick out there, they always put on a good show. So show them some love, show them support, and get your early bird tickets.
Well, go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Oh no, I said that's sweet, and I think that's a really cool idea that it's in an area that doesn't have cell phone reception. Just deal with it.
Mhm.
Exactly.
It's beautiful to roll
Be with your people.
and things like that. Like Daniel was saying, the hot springs and things like that are right across the way. The river runs right along the side of the property, so you're backed right up. You can go for a swim. It's not like a super deep river. It's beautiful with the rocks and stones and
Crystal clear water.
yeah, the glacial waters and things like that. And then so you've got like the whole festival grounds, and then right off to the side you have a huge camping area, which is just a massive area full of tents. So and the party goes until
And
like
music,
3 or 4
all
in the morning,
music on the stage, all kinds of other great events that's going on throughout the campground.
And you guys are all going.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's fun.
I actually judged the Cup Fest competition they had out there before HempFest. It was just a prequel HempFest thing, and that was pretty sick. I got to judge it, and then I also got to be one of the officiators that handed out the samples. And I was like, I don't know exactly how much I'm like. I guess we told them how to fill out the scorecard and stuff, but other than that, I was like, I don't need to tell a bunch of stoners how to smoke weed. Like they got this down.
They know.
Just hand them a lighter, bro.
Right.
They got it figured.
Well, I hate to push on from the conversation, but we are running through our time, and we still have several exciting segments to get through. I know that everyone loves the stoner trivia, and I've been waiting weeks for this. Okay, guys, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it today.
Oh man, so should we do stoner trivia or should we jump into our popular polled strain of the week?
I think we could do stoner trivia and then hop into the strain of the week.
Yeah, I suppose
Sounds
that
good.
makes sense.
All right, give me just a second.
All right, we'll be back right after this.
Smoking like a rasta, feeling so high. We talk about cannabis and getting fly. Are you smarter than a stoner? Let's find out. Listen up,
B, the
my
plant's
friends.
flavor
I
and
got
aroma
something to
compounds.
shout. Cannabis
C, the plant's
knowledge,
fibers.
let it flow through your mind. Getting blazed, smoking loud, we all unwind. Trivia questions, can you keep up the pace? Let's see if you're sharper in this smoky haze.
Alrighty, and we are back, and we are going to do some stoner questions.
Yeah. So excited.
Let me make sure I have a multiple choice answer.
Time to learn.
Let's go, stoners. Let's go.
So typically what we'll do is we'll just have our little sticky notes here, A, B, C, or D, and then we'll just kind of put our answers up on our foreheads as we get our answers in, I guess.
I'm ready.
All right.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Question number 1. Which environmental factor most directly influences the rate of photosynthesis in cannabis plants? A, ambient temperature. B, relative humidity. C, light intensity and spectrum. Or D, soil pH.
I'm going to say you're bringing us back with an easy one, but then I'm going to put up the wrong answer. So I'll keep my mouth shut.
I think what do we got in the chat there? I'm seeing C. 9 to 5.
9 to 5.
That really does affect it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that would not be ideal. Columbine Krampus got C. We got Christine says C. Angel's with her. She says C. Bam, we got C's all across the
Just
board.
straight up C's.
Heck yeah.
C's.
Looking
What are
like
we
my
seeing in
report
house?
card over there.
C's get degrees, guys.
Seeing a bunch of C's in house.
Look, it's B.
No, the correct answer is C.
All right. Cool. Ooh.
Oh, really?
Which
I'm
of
not
the-
sure.
This one's a split decision. I'm sure it's gonna come down to.
Which of the following terpenes is most associated with sedative effects in cannabis?
Ah,
A, myrcene. B, pinene. C, limonene. Or D, caryophyllene.
All right.
I respect carafilene. I do. I do.
Yeah, I will be curious to see what people have to say about this one.
Yeah. I respect the answer of carafilene.
That was mine as well, and I do think that.
What do we-
But I mean,
got a
most
bunch of A's?
associated. Yeah, that's the thing.
Got a
I
bunch of
do think this
myrcene, we
is
got some
lots of
caryophyllene out there.
myrcenes in there. Yeah,
Lots of myrcene.
Yeah, I'm dropping A, man.
lots of
I'm staying
myrcenes.
staying
Fair
solid
enough.
on my
Fair
A.
enough.
We went over this in our discussion last week. So Sir Steve-O.
I was watching The Boy last week.
kind
Oh, yeah.
of
The answer is A.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I found some of the most effective pain relief strains for I have some people that I know with MS, and the strains that they tended to like the most were very high in caryophyllene. So I always kind of associated that with heavy indica. But I
Yeah.
suppose that's more pain relief than
Well, I totally understand the
They're
carafilene there, that peppery terp and things like
Mhm.
that. But especially combined with myrcene, when you find those strains just coupled together like that, those
Perfect
are
pain reliever.
Yeah, pain relievers really in the couch of that indica right there for sure. With the combining the two, so I expected a split decision from the jump on that.
I know I enjoy them.
Yeah,
Mm.
We ready? Number 3. What psychological change occurs when cannabis plants are exposed to excessive heat?
It's called inhaling.
Physiologic. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Physiological. My bad. A, increased production of cannabinoids and terpenes. B. Stomata close to conserve water, reducing photosynthesis efficiency. C. Root growth accelerates to compensate for water loss. Or D. Leaves thicken or leaves blah, blah, blah. Leaves develop thicker cuticles to reduce UV damage.
Now you know what we were doing in between the breaks.
Okay, we've got a split decision in the chat. Christine says that she thinks the answer is B, but her homegirl says D tonight.
Yeah,
I'm going B.
B all the way.
Oh,
I'm guessing B myself.
I think I saw one of these on a report card one time, actually.
B?
Yeah.
Wow, good job.
It took me a while to figure out what it was. I could have swore it was a 13. I was like, that makes sense. No. Not at all. I was just talking about seeing a B on a report card and definitely not believing I'd gotten a B, but a 13 was totally believable.
The correct answer is B.
All right.
Some smart stoners.
Dang, yo. Bring it to the new year with some nice questions. Thank you so much. I say that now, but look at the answers here.
Oh, crap.
Final question, number 4. What is the primary difference between decarboxylated and non-decarboxylated cannabis? A. Decarboxylated cannabis contains active cannabinoids like THC and CBD, while non-decarboxylated cannabis contains acidic precursors like THCA and CBDA. B. Decarboxylated is less potent than non-decarboxylated cannabis, C. Non-decarboxylated cannabis is primarily used for smoking, while decarboxylated cannabis is used for edibles. Or D. Decarboxylated cannabis has no terpenes, while non-decarboxylated cannabis retains a full terpene profile.
This is a fantastic question. Really good one.
Yeah.
I think that there are,
possibilities.
there's one more
Yeah.
correct than the other, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Stoner Gump referred to the decarboxylation process as removing a force field, that invisible force field that is around your weed. You know, he said you just slide it on the tray, pop it in the oven for 15 or 20 minutes, and takes away that invisible force field. And I've heard a lot of discussion on whether or not it makes it stronger.
So it basically does the Jedi mind trick on you after you take away the force field.
Right. Well, see, there was the thing Snoop got popular a long time ago. He'd roll a blunt, put that shit in the microwave, and he'd be like, yeah, it makes it stronger. And it's actually not true, because that's not how the heating and decarboxylation process works. Because microwave vibrates the molecules beside each other to create heat. And it's not the same. But yeah.
So all of these elements have some degree of truth to them.
That's what I'm feeling.
Because, when you decarb, you definitely lose the terpenes. When you, obviously
I wouldn't say all of them.
C is the answer that most people would go with. However, I'm going to say A.
I like my edibles. I make edibles. So
C is a correct as well. But.
Yeah, I was thinking A or C for sure.
So I got A myself, but I can definitely see C being correct also.
Yep, for sure.
So A is the stronger correct answer.
All right, fair. Yeah, true. So for people that don't know, when you see THCA, it means that you can't eat it, basically. Okay, that's essentially what you need to take from this. All right, if you're gonna take it.
I mean, you can eat it, but you need to put it in the oven at 180 for about 15
I am
to 30 minutes.
not the chef. I'm not the chemist here. I just know that you got to decarb it if you want it to worky.
Like the force field reference.
Yes.
Yeah. Luke, may my brownies be with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Tanaki. I love Stoner Trivia. I've been looking forward to that for weeks.
Yeah.
You needed that.
So we got that strain of the week out there.
Yes,
as
we
well,
do.
right?
We do.
What did they vote on this week?
So I believe it was Blueberry Skunk, which have like a blueberry hash or a couple of different names, but we got a little song and clip going right here. So we'll click that in and we'll be right back with the rundown on Blueberry Skunk, guys.
Yummy.
Oh, Florida. Yeah. Rolling down the back roads, blueberry aroma. Windows crack, skunk clouds like a homegrown diploma. Truck bed full of harvest, laughter in the air. Southern nights, vibe, no worries, no cares. Blueberry skunk got me high as the moon, playing them country tunes, feeling like a cartoon. Dancing with the fireflies, smoking past noon. Life's sweeter than pie, puffing on my heirloom. Barn parties, mason jars, sipping on that brew. Ain't no stress here, neighbors share some too. Hey, ride to the lake, spark it up by the shore. Blueberry haze I can't ignore. Blueberry skunk got me high as the moon, playing them country tunes, feeling like a cartoon. Dancing with the fireflies, smoking past noon. Life's sweeter than pie, puffing on my heirloom. Country breeze hits, man, it's chilly but sweet. With that skunky blend, got dirt on my feet. Horses grazing twilight, starry canopy above. In the heartland, where we craft this love. Whippoorwill sing, making melodies blend. Joint burning slow till the very end. Echoes of laughter, time frozen still. Blueberry skunk, chasing dreams at will. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for watching that. Of course, you guys voted on the strain of the week, as you do every week, and this week, Blueberry Skunk won. Let's go over it. So this week, Blueberry Skunk is an indica dominant strain. It's a cross of blueberry and skunk one, possibly one of the most famous breeding bases of all time, skunk one. Skunk one's vigor, yield, and reliability are preserved in this mix, while blueberry does bring its heavy resin production and sweet berry flavors, which is good because skunk one is kind of plain. But that does blend with the nice earthy and skunky flavors.
You know, did he just say skunk?
I think you
Kinda
fucking
plain?
said
It's
skunk
plain.
one's kind of plain.
He said it's kind of
I
plain.
think you said it's kind of. I
It
don't know,
needs
dude.
some
I had one at
complexity, man.
Mo. I had one at Mo, a skunk one. They had when they first opened up. They just packed a fucking hell of an aroma, a nice hit. I think it was only tested like 18, 19 at the time, maybe 20. But THC doesn't matter anyway. But it.
I think we got one of those, you know, cilantro deals going on here. Some people taste dish soap, some people taste cilantro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm getting out of this.
I don't know if he
Yeah, I
tasted.
think that's a pretty controversial stance there.
Hot take of the day.
Look,
Skunk
we
one
cut
is
it.
plain.
Just because a plant grows big and fat buds doesn't make it a good plant. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
We got to get it quick so we can cut in something because that then would have been the perfect spot from dodgeball where he's like, "Bold move, Cotton. Let's get that one down."
Hey, look, I'd be happy to talk to you guys about it. Let's chat. Absolutely, I'll debate anyone all day. I'd love to talk genetics.
Well,
of course.
give us some rundown on what you're thinking there.
Well, I genuinely just feel like, of course, skunk is used as a breeding base because it is large and has that yield and has that beautiful structure. It's not used as a breeding base because it's the best flavor ever. That's just a simple fact.
Well, I guess flavor is relevant to the smoker. I know a lot of people that
That's
prefer
true.
that fruity light hint on their weed, and honestly, though, a lot of people go edibles that way because they don't like the taste of weed. Honestly, if I get a brownie and it's still got that good weedy taste into it, I'm like, fuck yeah, like that's better than Anna bread right there, dude. Like,
I don't know about that. That banana bread was on point.
Banana bread is on point, but if you got like the perfect hashiness in your brownies, that's hell yeah.
Yeah, I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, but that's the beautiful part about growing tea. There's thousands and thousands of kinds. So
yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't know. That's
just
nice.
I mean, I just always associate skunk with that old school flavor that everybody was always after for a long time. And I know a lot of good growers who grow it right. Some of them, they grow it and it tastes bland. So I definitely get where you're at. I think that's with any strain. Some people can get way too commercialized with it and not do a lot of the living soil like we have with our guests here today and what they do. And I think you lose a lot of flavor if you get way too laboratory with your grow, I guess. And that, I don't know how to put it other than that. I mean, it just gets way too clean environment. It gets way too dosed perfectly at the same time. Everything's perfect climate controlled. And that's just not where cannabis started off. I mean, it's a natural plant that grows outdoors, and it grew for thousands of years by itself without any human interaction.
I feel like the deviation came when commercialization hit and everybody was after high THC contents. So all of these grow manuals and grow instructions and all these ways people were told to set up their grow was to maximize a THC, and no one was really thinking about what they were doing to their terpenes, much less leaving them behind. And the combination of the two is definitely really important there. And as we're starting to come around, and people in the larger industry are starting to look at terpenes more, and
which I think is important.
Yeah.
I mean, we see this all the time. People come in, they THC hunt, and I think a lot of the laboratory testing, has a compounded issue with this. People really try to look at the laboratory reports. They expect high THC to equal quality, and it doesn't equal that at all. Well, sometimes there's some 19% high terpene stuff that'll just absolutely floor some of the hardest people out there, and it's great tasting.
Well, it's mandatory to have THC and CBD on labels in Montana, but it's not even mandatory to test terpenes.
Right.
That's an option.
And
so
it should be, because like you said, the lower testing THC, that's why Forbidden Fruit is in my top 3 all-time favorite strains.
Definitely.
It does not test high, unanimously across the board. Wherever it's grown, it's usually anywhere from a 14 to about an 18. But the terps on that are just so strong if grown properly. And I used to have cement shoes at a 33%, and I was cutting the cement shoes with the Forbidden Fruit just to make the Forbidden Fruit last longer, because it smoked so much better and it was that much more effective.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What does the chat have to say about this? We got Homegrow 4201. I don't know if that's one of your guys' homies, but they've been quite active in the chat this evening. We've got Calvin. He's saying it's the cookies problem. I tend to agree with Calvin, but we've talked about this a lot. So, Adam, I'm still after that old school skunk. So, of course, like we said, that's not everyone's cup of tea. Skunk isn't for me. I don't know. I'd rather have. It's not necessarily berry flavors, but I've really, really lately been enjoying a lot of the woody and smoky flavors that come from, I don't know, some of the other lines. I'm having a hard time thinking of any in particular because my favorite breeders aren't really revealing their lineage. But one that comes off the top of my head is Banana Bayou. It tastes like kind of like tobacco leaf and grape. It's very interesting.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we switched a little more.
Yeah,
the tobacco flavor on it is crazy.
Yes.
I'll agree with you about the skunk one thing too. Like it is very earthy, and it's not like, like right when you put your nose up to the bag, it's got more of an earthy smell than skunky smell. If you're like looking for that real skunky smell, like that roadkill skunk was that real like stink up the whole place with skunk kind of smell. Even if like you could put your face right up to it, it's all skunk everywhere. But it's just I agree. It is a very earthy earthy profile too. I think so. Like, and it depends on where you are. Like if I'm over here and I'm smelling your pocket over there, it smells like skunk. But if I go up to it and I've got my nose in the bag, it's like different. It's more got that earthy, subtle taste to it. But the bud structure, is unmatched. And for the time, yeah, I see why everybody was breeding with it. That's what they were breeding for. It was production, during that time is like, hey, we got to get as much bud out of this as we can, and we got to make the plants short and yield a lot. And like it had a lot going for it at the time. But yeah, if you really want that skunky, that roadkill skunk, that's the one that people are, I think, really think of the skunk smell as.
Most definitely.
Do you have any strains that you like or recommend that have those strong skunk smells that aren't necessarily skunk one? We have a commenter here who's saying that they have a skunk one crossed to roadkill skunk, and they are going to be popping those reg seeds soon. So that sounds like exactly what you're talking about.
Jeez.
That would be interesting. Take pictures and keep us up to date on how that goes.
That's one of my favorite strains of all time, is that roadkill skunk.
Oh, snap.
That reminds me of my childhood. It's awesome, Matt. Just send me some. Make me a cut if you can, bro.
Oh,
Every
man.
now and again, I'll catch an aroma of some cannabis, and I'm like, "Yo, that's got the hint of the stuff that my parents used to have, or something like that." That those 80s strains and 90s strains and stuff like that were really getting popular and going around at that time. And yeah, sometimes it takes you back, man. It really does. Take you
That's
back.
why I really like that Aqua Gold stuff like that. Though, are those old school strains, those pretty much nostalgic strains that everybody talks about.
Oh yeah, and you guys got
We
that.
had a skunk berry 2 years ago.
Oh, go
You
ahead.
said a skunk berry.
Yeah, that one was nice.
Talking about blueberry skunk.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to mention it.
And I was just obsessing over berries, so it's just like a berry themed day.
It's a berry
It's a berry day.
Christmas.
Yes,
Anyway, I guess we are. Maybe we should go into the news with Nate at this point. Honestly,
Yeah.
we've been kind of pushing our time, and I know we have a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, as far as the news goes, there is a ton out there. So I don't know if you want to do an intro or we just want to jump right in. So
Let's run it. It's only 20 seconds.
This update's fresh and real. Tune in with Nate, it's the big deal. Cannabis news with Nate, let's go. Every story makes you glow. Stay informed, don't be late. Cannabis news with Nate.
all right, we're right back with the news. So we've got some pretty good news coming out of Montana here. The Montana cannabis sales nears $1 billion since legalization. Montana's cannabis industry has been legalized for about 3 years now, and we're hitting that $1 billion.
And that's for the rec market, right?
That's for the rec and med
Yep.
market, yeah, for sure. Recreational weed dominated the market, making up about 75% of the total sales. So, it also generated over $50 million in tax revenue, since 23, or excuse me, in 23 alone. So
Dang.
if you got $50 million in 1 year in tax revenue that you're paying towards schools, infrastructure, public programs, all thanks to the green gold rush, you would think you would want to try to promote that, foster that, and keep that going.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, not here in Montana.
No.
You highlighted an interesting statistic just there that about 75% is the rec market right there. That means 3 out of every 4 stoners are paying too much for weed right now, because you're paying for that 24% tax rate right there. Like,
Yeah, and I mean,
Holy crap.
they should also be reaching out to their legislators right now, because the legislative session in Montana is very unique. We have a 90-day legislative session every 2 years. Our founding fathers knew that if you had too much government involvement, that they'd probably screw some stuff up. And we've seen that within the cannabis market quite a bit. But right now they're in session. They're kicking around a bunch of bills. We're going to talk about a few of those. There's a couple of that are actually live right now. Senate Bill 27 and Senate Bill 74. Those are the ones making their sort of rounds around the legislative body right now. Senate Bill 27 will basically shut down any expansion of Montana's market any further. There will be no more expansion of businesses. There will be no more expansion of licenses. Everything will be sort of froze in place. There will be a permanent moratorium that would include any out-of-state buyers or investors coming in and trying to participate in the Montana market as well.
oh
That
shit.
continue that moratorium. Along with Senate Bill 74, same with that one. That one is the interim committee bill from the House Legislative Interim Committee, Economic Affairs. They basically are going to propose a moratorium of some degree. We don't know how much the restriction is going to be, but they're going to allow you to be able to move your cannabis businesses, but probably not expand them anymore or get any more licenses. So there's a pretty big deal there. If you were thinking that you wanted a Montana cannabis business near you, you may want to get a hold of your legislator and let them know that these bills need to be shot down. Just because really, we don't really need, in my opinion, crony capitalism in Montana. We need free, fair, and open markets, and we need people to be able to participate and grow their businesses the way that they need to, and the market will reflect that. If there's too much market saturation in one area, I think people aren't going to survive. There's going to be a natural attrition of businesses that'll go out, and so we need to allow the market to reflect that.
So the founding fathers had it right by limiting the government in what they were doing with the legislative session, but the current politicians were like, watch us fuck it up in 90 days.
We got 90 days.
We can fuck it up.
Let us
90 days.
limit you now because
Right.
you limited us. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially the role that's going on there. Hopefully, they'll understand that with almost $1 billion in revenue generated, I don't know of very many industries in Montana, and we've always had a bit of an economic issue here in Montana with having a lack of industry. Typically it's only logging, mining, ranching, stuff like that. I mean, so when you have $1 billion industry, I don't understand why, if you're a free market advocate, which I believe a lot of these guys claim to be, guys and gals, I should say, claim to be, why you would try to stifle a $1 billion cash cow that is producing $50 million a year in revenue.
Right. And that's just estimated revenue based on cannabis tax sales only, not including
Ancillary
employee, whatever,
businesses.
all of the other taxes that are involved in running a business.
They're
Well, that's
still fighting
exactly
over
right.
what to spend the money on, and they can't, and they want to go ahead and shut the money fountain off. That's like the dumbest. Like,
The golden goose is, being threatened with a guillotine, bro.
it's crazy. Like, even as
After
a corrupt
20 years.
politician, you'd be like, yeah, these are corrupt politicians. They just want money, and it's like, well, you're gonna cut off the money. Like, what the fuck?
You'd think after 20 years of a legal market that we'd have figured this out by now, but they just continue to push it over and over again.
And they always come with the same tired message that, Montana communities don't want this. And we voted again and again, year after year.
Right.
And Montana communities have actually signaled that they want this. I mean, last legislative session, they were upset that there were Little League teams with cannabis businesses that were the sponsors of the Little League teams. And they were talking about how that was dangerous. To me, that actually shows and demonstrates that the communities actually want cannabis businesses involved in their communities. And they want us to be normalized, like, our guests were talking about. They want cannabis to be communities. And I think a lot of these politicians are going to find very little ground and very little support with people moving forward, because I think we're actually moving towards national legalization. And, the old tired argument that it's a federally illegal drug is no longer going to be a leg they can stand on.
Right. That will be huge. That will be huge.
Looking forward to that.
Most
Really
definitely.
looking forward to it.
Well, speaking of that, Nevada's Diane Titus, she is the co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus. And she's been appointed. She's out of Nevada there. They are talking about supercharging some of these cannabis bills that have been wishing around. And they're actually talking that the current or the incoming administration seems to be signaling some support. I know that JFK Jr. and some of those others, they actually support some psilocybin testing. They support some of the, mushrooms and other psychedelics as a form of medical treatments and stuff like that. So I'm really anxious to see where we're going to go with that coming up. But she's the one that's been tasked to sort of take that on. And hopefully Montana will be able to continue to support like banking bills and stuff like that.
Could you imagine being a fully licensed trip sitter? Like,
Well, dude,
that's what you do for your daily job. Your 9 to 5 is I trip sit.
dude, mushrooms are legal in Washington, D.C. So These
but
motherfuckers
it's legal,
are already paying for it.
but they're not paying for trip sitters. You can just buy them. Like I said, it's Supreme Terpene.
Right.
Shameless plug to them. They're still around. And that shit was an apartment complex. And they walk out the front door and hand me that bag.
Some lady in an apartment's getting all these visitors, has no idea why.
What the hell? Where are people coming
Yeah,
from?
and I've always seen some businesses come up around here like that. They call them like wellness centers, basically.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's just
Colorado
just
has some
for your mental health. It's really cool, I guess.
interesting.
Very nice.
Yeah, I wonder, you guys probably see a lot more in what a lot of people are calling the psychedelic renaissance, right? In Colorado. I believe that you guys have some
Like
a little
DMT
bit.
and some other things.
Yes, a little bit more loose policy, I guess.
Yeah, people have gone a little bit crazy with how they operate here, and police just want to make sure that everything is on the up and up. But as soon as they
Still gray.
decriminalized it, people started opening these little shops and calling them wellness centers, and are charging people to come into their homes and basically babysit them, like you were saying.
Holy
I
shit.
think, for one, I think it's absolutely crazy how you have I just looked it up. You have a population of like 1.13 million, and that you guys have brought in over $1 billion in revenue.
We like our weed, brother.
That's great.
Over $1,000 a person.
I
You
think
know.
here in
hunting, fishing, and
Billings.
smoking weed.
We've got what, 40 something dispensaries just in the city of Billings or around the city of Billings, and the population in Billings is only like 200,000.
Before we dispensaries, it was like this with casinos. So I guess we just like to party here.
I mean, when you're mountain folk and you're bored, you've got long, hard days. You're working 14, 15 hours. You got to blow off some steam. And I think a lot more people are turning to weed than they are to alcohol. And I mean,
Absolutely.
it's really nice to see. There's also people turning to mushrooms, other things. And I'm absolutely happy after spending a little time on felony probation for mushrooms to see this whole renaissance happening. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You mentioned DMT, and before I forget, there's this new study that was just done with DMT, and I was watching the video where they were talking about it back and forth, and a couple of these scientists were going into what they did, and they gave a multiple test, like 20, 30 people, gave them DMT, and they pointed a red laser down a wall, just down a flat white wall. And every single person reported that when staring at the laser going down the wall without talking to each other or knowing anything about it, they all reported that staring into the laser allowed them to see the Matrix. They could truly see the Matrix code unveiling through the red laser going down the wall.
Is this a lot like that drawing the line from the chicken's nose and they just stay there on the ground?
I don't know, dude, but I mean, 30 different people that have not communicated or have no idea what the base of it is. They're just supposed to look at the laser and report their findings while tripping DMT for them all to. And I mean, already unanimously, when people trip, they've all had the same thing where they go into the DMT dimensions and they meet the entities and they talk to people and they have an experience.
Well, Joe
But now
Rogan's
they're
talked
seeing-
about all this stuff before too.
Yeah, but now they're looking at this laser and they're seeing the Matrix, and it's like, maybe
So that's
there's
what that
something to
dude was
stimulation.
seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the festival out here at the property, and there's a guy, he was sitting on the hill, and I look over, you could tell homeboy was tripping harder than shit. And we have these lasers that are shooting into Colorado and really messing up the Air Force training over there. And basically it's hitting him dead square in the eyes, bro. Just ding, 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 ding. And he is just like staring off into space. And I'm like, bro, you should probably not do that. He looks over at me, he's like, it's so damn cool, and goes back to doing it. I can only imagine the raging headache he had the next morning. But apparently he was talking about Matrix, bro.
I mean, he might have, or self LASIK, one or the other. Maybe he just had bad eyesight. He was like, it's fucking working, dude.
I find it funny that they're finding all this time and money to do research on these psychedelics, but they still haven't done any meaningful research on weed yet.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is there's tons and tons of meaningful research. They just don't listen to the people who have been using cannabis for a long time.
I see what you're saying.
True. Right. They're spending all this money when they could be asking these questions.
We have our guests talking about, their failures. We have had plenty of failures, and if you want to learn how not to do something, talk to an experienced grower. They're going to tell you, this is every way that I've fucked up. And I will tell you, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy because I think you were talking with someone and they had the position and it was like, well, you guys were growing weed before it was legal, so it's more of a criminal aspect or something like that. It's like, motherfucker, do you hire a goddamn dude that works at McDonald's to run your Formula One fucking racing team on the day first on the track? Like, no, you don't do that shit. You get somebody that's experienced, that's driven a car before and has experience in that field. And it's like, I don't know what they were really thinking. Like, you're just going to start an industry and not have people that were, in this industry want to get into it legally. Like,
the thing about it is too, is I wanted to sort of explain to him that you are in Montana, bro. Like, we grew up in our grandma's garden picking her weeds before we were allowed to smoke weed. I mean, so we sort of understand what agriculture is about. We sort of understand how to grow plants. Some of us, have the ability to grow tomato plants. Some people have the ability to plant gardens and trees and everything else like that and keep them sustainable. So, I mean, transferring that over to cannabis, there are some subtle differences, but I don't think it's that huge. But real quickly on the news before we get out of here, you were talking about jobs and being a trip sitter and stuff like that. The Toker's Guide wants to pay you to smoke. So apparently the Toker's Guide out there is a cannabis review company. And they are looking for people to go out and do some reviews, smoke some cannabis for them. And the owner, Matthew, he's talking about the fact, or the co-founder, he's talking about the fact that, your pay is going to be based somewhat upon your experience. So, I mean, if you're brand new to smoking out there, probably not going to, look at it. But if you're somebody with some good experience that has, some good reviews, you've got a lot of years in the industry, have the ability to write some good reviews, maybe that's a good side gig for you, and you get out there and do some good quality smoking. And
I may or may not have traveled from one coast to another reviewing cannabis at one point in time.
Well, I think we've all done that for sure. I mean, I know I've been to Texas and back to cannabis, and there's been several shops around Colorado, including Linwood Fields and several others that we've hit while we were there. And there was a point from Colorado Springs to Denver that the only thing that I could pray for was a burrito because I was so high.
And I can imagine that, dude. That's why the gas station over here in Shepherd has to happen, because there's nothing between
around us. It's like 40 miles in a circle around us for anything.
There's no burritos, there's no bathroom, there's nothing. There needs to be a stop. And what more convenient place to put it than right next to a dispensary where you can just do everything at once? You can get your munchies, you can get your weed. I mean, there's
and then take a stroll through, the food forest, and I mean, boom, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm seeing the vision.
I mean, I'm still wondering what's going to happen with the big hill in the back, because we talked zip line, we talked projector, we talked a lot of different crazy ideas. I still think the zip line, power pole included, electrical lines, risk assessed, and slide at your own risk. But
I figured in classical Montana fashion, seeing as it's a big hill by the highway, we have to build a giant weird statue that just doesn't really mean anything. It's just
you guys just have to put a fucking.
What is that? Like,
Montana, ask you guys fashion. You build the stone monument, the letter of the town on it on the biggest.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're just gonna put a huge S on the hill.
Well, I mean, you've got the Montana monolith over there, the big wall that everybody's finding, and that's been built over there. So I was actually hoping for the big 12-foot skeletons, and putting them up on the hill there and having them like do the old Jack Sparrow sword fight all the way down the hill. But unfortunately, due to the wind that we have out here, I think North Dakota would have a lot of good skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, so they put in a sign over at the dispensary, and I mean, it was just the posts and the frames, and it was cemented in the ground about 4 foot, right?
4 foot.
Each post 4 foot in the ground.
12-inch sonnet tubes.
Yeah, like this was some thick cement tubing in the ground, 4 foot down. Just the frames, nothing to catch wind, dude, just frame. And
it ripped it
within a couple of days, it had ripped it clean out of the ground, brought the pillars out of the ground.
70 miles, and it actually snapped them about 3 feet off in the ground, and then just brought them out of the ground and dropped the whole frame.
Yeah, we got some wind out here. Wind and cold. It's almost like why no one has lived out here ever before.
That's why nobody out here gets in a snowball fight, because you can throw a snowball and it's just going to get caught and come right back at you.
That's true. Well, Anything else on the news tonight?
I'm good on the news. That's pretty much it. We'll keep you informed on how the Montana legislative session is going to progress. We'll probably also bring some guests on to talk a little bit more about that as it gets a little more heated. But I think people out there in Montana need to stay vigilant. They need to stay in touch with their people, with their legislators out there, and we'll try to keep a good line of communication open on how they can do that. But yeah, for the news for me, and greatly appreciate our guests showing up.
Absolutely, man. Ash, Dreadful, we truly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedules to be on and share with our visitors your great stories, a tour of the homestead and everything you guys got going on. Any plugs you guys want to do here at the last few minutes of the show?
Well, I just want to say that we really appreciate you guys for having us. You guys do an amazing job on your show. And like he said, with the population like that, it's important that you keep your community informed and that you guys just go out and vote and talk to your local administrators, and just awesome what you guys do. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, I mean, from the studio, which is looking super professional, to like the videos that you guys put on, like you could tell you put a lot of love into this, and I have nothing but a lot of respect for it. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. You guys got it down, and it's gonna go far. Like, much love, guys. Thank you for having us. You got the brain thinking now. I'm like, damn. Like,
Tapestry.
Yeah.
Well, definitely please stay in touch with us and
Absolutely.
share your progress with us as well. We would love to be able to show, some pictures and some clips as you guys continue to progress throughout the years, and share that experience and journey.
Yes. And let's all be friends on Facebook. So that sounds fun.
Yes, absolutely. We'll all get some pictures of our home grows. You can make fun of us, grow your massive fields. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No,
right.
y'all are awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody in the chat. I see Wendy, Sir Steve-O, Homegrown Mike, everybody that tuned in. We appreciate you. Much love back in the new year, guys. Anybody else?
And you know what? I just wish everybody a prosperous 2025 and get out there and grow some good stuff and share it with your friends.
Indeed.
All right. You have a great night, guys.
Have a good one.
Stay lifted.
Peace.
Much love.